see. Hi everyone, it's Miss Nikki Ann. Oh, took forever to oh boy to get this going. Just because I'm tired. I'm tired. Um yeah. So here I am pushing through meds. Tired. Finally, like complaining because I'm not the patient who's like, okay, no, I go in, I'm ready, and so I'm supposed to start physical therapy, but as usual, there's so many things happening with my body that it makes it very difficult. And so my rheumatologist had written up a new um, referral, and so it even took me a couple of months to return their call because I had so many other. I'm trying to let that show. What's that? So many other more pressing health issues, and then I also have a son who has a life and things I have to do for that. But I finally got there, and it's been less than a year since I was there. I would be there at the physical therapy place twice a week. So here we are, less than a year later, we're close to almost a year, and I felt as if like I'd never spent time with these people. Like they did not understand anything just all of a sudden, and but it's in my file, okay? And I remember the support I got, and even as I attempted to be strong and powerful and go in there and do all this stuff hardcore that my body just couldn't do, I was told, slow down, let's, I don't know. I don't know. There was more understanding and sympathy. I don't know what the therapist has going on, which is maybe it just wasn't a good day. Okay. But there was this one part towards the end, and this time he said, because when he was toying with the legs, they were doing what they were, supposed to do or whatever, better than before. But this time it's both legs, and it's not consistent, as is with an illness of this type. Comes and goes, and I was just thinking, well, it's not doing it now, but it's gonna do it. But then I was tired. I was tired. He said, what we'll do is get the cardio going. Mm-hmm. Things I can do at home. Well, believe it or not, I already have two of my doctors working on that. OBGYN and psychiatrist, just trying to find what would fit into my dysautonomic life, which is good because recently my psychiatrist got me a DVD doing yoga from my bed, and it's about not pushing it, not forcing the moves, not doing more. I'm competitive with myself, not others, but with myself. So I'm like, come on, be your best dysautonomic self you can be. And we watched it in her office, and just to be sure that it would even fit, if it really was about what the title said it was about. There's another one to do. Um, so towards the end of my visit with him, he said, "Come on, Nikki, get the line. Have you gained? Have you gained more weight since?" No, no. He said, "Be honest. Have you gained more weight than when you were last here?" And I was like, "So no, to when I last saw you. Have you gained any more?" Okay, it was when he last saw me, and I was like, and just because I felt like a bunch of fingers were pointing at me, I was like, yeah, yeah, I guess. But I looked back and I hadn't. You see, he had never said such pointed things before, accusatory things. Uh, and like I said, I looked back and and my weight's going down, just as my neuro-ophthalmologist said it would. It's going to take a few years, and I'm like, oh my God, I just told a lie because I felt so attacked and like I didn't have time to answer. Come on, Nikki, hit that buzzer. It's your turn to win nothing. And it's because I'm tired. It's because I no longer want, I don't want to be the doctor anymore. And I say this and I tell it to my primary care, who, most importantly, who I had to see the other day because I had this weird looking rash, dot, dot, dot. You know, it really looks like shingles. But first, let's treat it as if it's not. And so, it, so when I saw him, I had all of that going on, and so my when he read my pressure, my nurse read it, and it was perfect. I like a 120 over something, the healthier me. So, but for the dysautonomic me, that number is way too low. And if I'm 120, when I go to stand up to go back to the car, I'm going to drop to 100 over whatever. Okay, I know this. I've been at this for a long time now. I think I'm the person who would know, the person who's living it. And not only that, um, look through my files. It's documented. It's the whole point of going to the infusion center, starting all this. I'm about to run my fluids now, was to get that pressure up so that I can go to physical therapy and do all of these things to at least be the healthiest and most active that I can be. So he takes the pressure. It was like 170 something over something. I'm like, oh, okay. I thought that was great because when I last saw him, I don't know if you guys saw the other video a long time ago, he he wouldn't allow me to come back because I was going into maintenance. So I was going to be working with the trainer, you know, coming every week for how much time he needed me to come. But then my body was refusing to stay upright, and I had an episode there. And that episode led the physical therapist to tell me that I can't come back until I've got a scooter because the amount of energy it's taking me to get into the building to where he is, it's just with the orthostatic intolerance. By the time I get there, I have nothing to give blood pressure wise. But this time, the 170, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm excited because the other day, I repeat again, I went to my primary care and it was 120 over something. I said to her, I was just like, I'm so tired of this. I told the nurse, I said, I worked really hard and all I got was that 120 over something. And so he's like, and I was like, I usually work with the top number, okay? And he's like, well, I said that's actually that's great. That means that finally my pressure is responding, and so that I really should be here. And that was the point of restarting. When I gone to my rheumatologist, I walked a long distance from the parking lot to her office, and when I got there, my pressure was 150 over something. But then when I went to stand again, it started to go down, but I made it. And that was the deciding factor. So he's like, well, do you take anything for your pressure? I'm like, did he, did he forget who I am? I'm the woman with POTS. I said, I've tried everything. And I said, that's as far as dealing with the tachycardia. But I said, there's nothing. If Vanderbilt has said it, if my Boston specialist has said it, if everyone, there's nothing perfect that's going to work for a patient with hyperadrenergic POTS. But he was adamant. And you know what, people? Now I'm adamant. Yeah, that's what's happening. I feel it's just coming to me. Still got this. Now I'm adamant that I know what I'm talking about because I live in this broken body and I spend my entire day trying to get it to work enough to raise my son. It takes, I recently did a time check because more meds have been added for whatever have you, the shingles, all of that stuff. It takes me 4 hours, usually from 3 a.m., to get all the morning meds done, get up that early to pace them because I have antibiotics for my colon. So the pacing, and that's just the first. I figured out that I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 med breaks, and they're not short. It's not like okay, just I think the shortest would be hmm, hmm it would be not the afternoon, that evening, that space of 5, 6. But after that, just to get to bed, 2 hour ritual for bedtime, morning time 4, afternoon time. Oh God, depending on what's going on, where I'm at, what am I trying to do as far as an appointment is concerned, that could be a 1 to 2 because the things I take have to be spaced. And so let's say all of a sudden I gotta go to the bathroom or I've got to do. When do I eat, people? If if I'm averaging, I'll even take. If I'm averaging 4, 5, 6, 7.5 to 8 hours of my day, it is a full-time job. And when I say it, I fear that people really don't understand. I'm adamant that I know what I'm talking about. I'm adamant that I am only on medications that are lending some help. I do not waste time with chemicals and narcotics. This is real. This is serious. It's my life we're talking about. So if I'm telling you that 170 something is great so that when I go to stand up and actually start to do the real physical therapy, I won't pass out on you. But how don't you remember that? You're the person who brought up a scooter, no one else. And I finally went ahead and got the adjustable bed. These are the things that he suggested, and I need a new walker that's high enough, and this way we'll keep. He told me it's okay to take time off. He has someone who has lupus or something, and there are months, and so that happened to me. And even still, when I'm looking at it, I'm never ready because every month there's a flare with the bottoming out. Matter of fact, you know what, people? Let's be honest. I don't go a full week of stabilized normal blood pressure. And see, if he should have asked that question. How often are you at that one? I just don't like it. I don't think it's a good number. And, you know, I didn't ask you what you think. Let's be clear. You are not the POTS specialist. If anyone in that room is, it would be I. Because the same woman, my rheumatologist, who you're going to call, she's only going to be able to regurgitate to you what I've told her through my research and the things I've pointed her to study. Me. I don't know. And I like him. I think he doesn't waste time, but also be careful when you're stepping into something that you know nothing about. You have your specialty, and that's what I'm here for. And if I'm telling you about the pressure number, I mean, of course, you say it's going to call the doctor and just kind of, sure. Now I feel kind of like I don't want to do this with you anymore. You've forgotten who I am. If you are not in somebody's office every week, people, you will be. And that originally, in the beginning, can be a good thing, even though you're too sick to do it. They have to bring you to the emergency room in their own building because during, your visit with them, you're passing out. Sure, call the doctor who I had to teach, and it's not, it's real, and she's not the only one. It's not her specialty. By the time I got to Vanderbilt, I had done some. All of those appointments in the beginning are fine, but there's some point where, as they've tweaked everything, until I think we've gotten to a place where I'm like, okay. And my son's homeschooled, with the mixture that we've created. I'm like, okay, let's not rock the boat here. And hearing him talk about blood pressure medication, when I know that by the time I leave there and walk to the car, my pressure will have bottomed out, or at least dropped to 120 from 170 something. Then it's the bottom number I'm really concerned about. No, I'm concerned about all the numbers. Like he was one upping me. It's really because I talk about the top number, it's the bottom number. You should be concerned with the whole picture of it. That a POTS patient is here with you explaining hyperadrenergic POTS and is too tired to even ask you to let her stand up. I was just like, forget it. Because with that 170, if I was gonna, yeah, I was going right down to 120 from there. But I was so excited because I knew I was going to be able to make it back to the car without feeling crappy. But by the time that stress added up from that visit, I just left like it was too much. I don't waste time with people who don't understand because I don't have enough energy to give to that. Okay? These walls, this is my life. So why would I go to a person who last year understood me and all of a sudden this year doesn't? Like, and there's not enough time for you to relearn. You told me. So I guess nothing's been going on with the scooter then. And he was adamant about getting that walker. We get the new one when it's time to renew the script. But I forgot to even ask him about the important things, the scooter and the walker, because now I'm attacked for my weight, but my weight isn't any different. Just didn't have enough time to like gather my thoughts. I'm like, what just happened? And I know the question, she just kept saying, like, recently maybe somebody gave him a hard time because I know it's taking a long time. And I'm like, no, it's fine. This is, intake assessment. It should take a long time. And as a matter of fact, it should take long enough for you to be able to look back and say, he was even lazy about that part. When I think about it, looking back, well, when you were, what he's asking me, you have the paperwork. You don't want to hear me tell you about what I know about POTS. I don't want to hear you asking me about your shit. It's your shit. Nobody expected me to do a write up. It's yours. Usually, when I go into an office, people start pulling out laptops now. And see, Nikki, I know exactly what I told you because it's right here. But when they're reading, I'm like, bingo. That's how you do it. And I'm tired. I can't. And so I've made an appointment with my psychiatrist for tomorrow, whom I wasn't supposed to see tomorrow. I, I, because sometimes people, I'm tired. And when I get this way and I'm adamant and running it by her, because she's the one person who knows just about every intimate detail about me. Because she's told me once before that it's impossible to do. I've been canceling appointments because I tried this week to be sure I didn't miss a single medication. My end was coming along great, but then I had to start going to the pharmacy, had to chase people for prescriptions, had to. It turned into a long week. I can almost cry. By Friday, I was so fried from doing what everyone else was supposed to have done. I phone it in, okay. Need some catheters. Like, How hard is it to get some of those? It's not crack. I mean, well, that's easier to get. Catheters, so that I can feel better. Because I'm not peeing. That makes me sicker. And I called early enough. I still had some. I wasn't calling last minute. And that's just one medication. I'm still waiting on my antibiotic. From a week ago. So even if I give my best to try to make sure, and guys, it's hard. If I didn't have my son, if my body just didn't get physically, the muscles just tired to where literally if I push through, I start to stumble and fall and become discombobulated in a manner that is not helpful for anyone to try to be out there in the world like that. I'm not making this up. So here I am. I'm going to do this stuff. So again, last week my goal was to make sure I didn't miss a single medication. I got through 5 days. And people, I felt, as again, I'm adding into the fact that I'm a mom. So trying to, my son's doing farm camp, trying to just, it's better when he's homeschooled, when he has to go someplace, camp, or whatever, summer camp, whatever, it's really daunting. But even when he's here, trying to get all these meds in, I'm like, hold up, give me a second. I have to drink this lactulose twice a day. I need to mix it with this. Sometimes he's just like waiting, waiting. And my whole life is a big waiting game. Not waiting for the mail from when I was working as an assistant, you know, not waiting on something to where it makes me money. Then I get threatened by social services and stuff. I love that. I only make $8,000 a year from disability and SSI, but then you call me about there's some law about how much I don't get cash benefits. I just never have. I don't really know how that works. Okay, so on your card, for some reason they have to automatically make this certain deposit to my card. I don't touch it because what is this cash deposit? Energy something and something. I don't even own a house. Energy on what? Like what are we talking about? So I get a letter on Friday telling me that I need to use the money on that card. Like what? If you don't use the money, then we will have to take action. People, understand what I'm telling you. If I don't use the cash, which 20 something bucks or something like that, they're going to have to take action against me. Wait a minute. I was just like, I'm disabled. I mean, like, they know what my income is because they granted it. Like, you know what my income is. What are you gonna do? You want to take my $8,000 away because you gave me $26 in cash assistance that I never applied for? I don't touch it because let me explain something to you how oh evil the system is. The systemic issues that come with dealing with government stuff. Okay, I went someplace just now. What was that? Because I remembered I needed to do something. And that trumped what I was just about to say to you guys. Trumped it. I'm like, oh snap, I need to be. See? Just, yeah. And I do this out and about. I don't even know. And people, it could. These occurrences could really. I mean, gone. I don't mean a normal, I've forgotten. It's different. And if you're sick out there, you know what I mean. I'm not gonna even. And it gets worse. It's just getting worse. I don't know. I usually don't get the thought back. There's something in my it's some kind of wiring, guys. It feels so funny to be like, am I losing my mind? Uh-oh. Or is the government losing their mind? I'm sorry. But I still don't. Like I just figured out there was something about benefits in that letter, but I keep looking like this because there's a bed full of meds. Meanwhile, mm, I didn't even put. Did I put my shingles med on? Hmm. Oh my God, everybody! I feel I'm gonna go then. I don't want to hold anyone when I'm still holding the same. I need to push the. I feel very frustrated. Well, kinda. Well, maybe I don't know what I feel like. What am I? And then the world keeps going, and people keep bombing each other and bombing the deformed and the mentally ill and the mentally challenged, and we just bomb people. And so if we're willing to bomb sick people who are born with deformities and different crutches to bear and crosses, what will you do to me? I could go down a list of names of people who are not coming back into the country anytime soon. People, they will do the same to you. And the best thing you can do, right, as far as, oh yeah, the government, there we go, it will give you something and then later on say, oh, I got the thought that, guys. It was about, and I've heard story after story, cash assistance, not food stamps. Those they cannot retro, and they don't ever try to come after you to get that money back for food stamps. And this is all in the legal paperwork. I'm not just making this up. And because you need to know, no one would probably ever think that whatever you've ever received for cash assistance, you can owe. Yeah, I've been on, let's say you've been on cash assistance 10 years. I mean a person who is disabled. These are the type of people I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the people who are capable, okay? But again, I don't ask for any cash assistance. I only ask for what I worked for because they have come after people later on, like years later, people. And I'm talking thousands of dollars. Like, are you serious? And it'll be something like this. Well, we miscalculated. Okay. And then so what? So who? Oh, you're gonna reprimand me for your miscalculations. And as you're saying these things to them, I've been there. They're like very centered. I'm sorry, ma'am. Code 555 online 6666666 and subpart B say, but and you keep saying, but you made a mistake. I'm sorry, ma'am, but part 66666 on subpart ABC, you will have an opportunity to have a hearing for this if you feel that something's wrong. No, no, no. Well, we need something's wrong. You're telling me that something is wrong and you want me to pay for it. So if I think something's wrong, no, 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 I've got the paperwork right here too. And it says that something is wrong. And you gave me how many ever thousands of dollars over X amount of years, and I need to pay it back. I don't even know. Just try to stay out of the government's way. Always have. Always have. I'm an African American woman. I have always tried to stay out of it. Have always not wanted to need them for anything. But thanks for the student loan, 100 and something thousand dollars later. because because it was literally hammered into our brains, those of us born in the 60s and 70s, that going to college is what will solidify you um, a decent living here in America. This great land. Greatness lies within the circumstance. Greatness is getting up on a day where they've agreed to cease fire, go to the store and stock up on rice or whatever it is you can get the ingredients to make the the ethnic bread that you eat every day, and we all have one. Cornbread, I can go to whole cakes or whatever they make someplace else. A ceasefire so that the citizens can go grocery shopping. And then sometimes to find that, yeah, you tell them, yeah, okay, I'll do the ceasefire. Meanwhile, dude over there is already programming some bombs to come at you and your kids and your grandmother and your great grandmother and her beautiful olive trees. Or so I'm adamant that I've had enough of the bullshit that is the never-ending cycle and psychotic nature of men in power. Rewind that if you need to, because I can't repeat it. But I am so tired of them. I'm tired of what we women endure. Mother's Day. No, no, I want you to treat me right every day. Mother's Day. I'm so tired of men and what they do to the world and what they do to women and what they do to children and old people and also the handicapped, the sick. Can I go down the list? So, those who are of a different religion, those who are of other different ethnicity, color, hair texture, uh, big ass, small ass. I mean, whatever they feel like is in pop culture for them, even though they're telling you that they're not popish, that these are the laws that God has commanded. And I'm looking hard for these lines that they're talking about. I'm looking for the lines that allowed America to enslave a bunch of niggas. I'm looking for the law where, yeah, we should shut down all help in Chicago so that these niggas can kill themselves by the end of 2015, and that'll be done. We'll take that genocide approach while people are worried about what's going on everywhere else. I was listening to something, and an African lady, so she's not some young girl, um, she had been doing work with some American people but she lives in America, but had been doing work for Africans in desperate situations. She said she had to stop and realize that now she is an American and that the blacks here are suffering worse than than they understood, than she understood. She came here, and I'm pretty sure she came here expecting greatness and possibility. And now she's saying, I have to turn my energy from my home country, a continent, to help people, the blacks here in America. And listen, people, you have an African, a black African saying she needs to help the black niggas in the United States of nigga America. Meanwhile, I'm listening to something on indigenous radio and I hear a Native American say, we prefer Indian. Oh shit. This is what he said. I don't know how they all feel. He's like, we prefer the word Indian over Native American. And I guess either that or indigenous peoples of America. I'm so confused. I'd rather just, for me, just call me a nigga because then I'll know who you're referring to. All niggas over here. I mean, I'm like, wait a minute. So this whole time, my sympathies have been with calling you Native Americans because I have some on both sides of my family. Uh, Most black people do, y'all. I don't know if you know that. So okay, you don't want to be called natives of this land, because maybe you don't like the fact that this is America and that's not what you named it, and so you like to be called Indian, even though you're not from India, and but indigenous people. I'm just gonna make it easy for everybody. Shit, yeah. Looking for Nikki the nigga right here. Uh-uh. Don't call me that. Call me colored. Call me African American. Call me black. Even though I'm not black, I'm really brown. And some of us not even brown, like almost look white. You don't know the difference. Or look like true Indians from India. I'm like, sure, sure. Nikki the nigga. That is like, I'm just trying to simplify it for myself now. For my son, I'm very clear. I never want him to think that they think that he's anything else but that. So don't be mistaken. You need to be clear on where you stand. And I say it because, again, if an African comes and says that she needs to help the black niggas in America, wow. No one gives a shit about the genocide happening in Chicago or about the destitution of the middle class in Detroit. That's what people want to happen, and I don't mean you. I'm talking about any white supremacist, anybody of any other color that's against another people and wish them to be gone, and will take actions, whether outwardly or quietly, or sit back and watch as they kill each other. And I'm not talking about grown-ups who can make these types of decisions. I'm talking about 10, 11 year olds, you know, AK-47 type of business. And they're not even arguing over anything specific anymore. That's how bad it is in some places. Okay, but I am adamant, and let us be that because everyone else is. And I don't mean adamant about what other people have going on, but adamant about what we have going on and knowing who we are and what we're going through physically as human beings, so that we know which is the best route for us to take. Just because help is offered does not mean that it's the help you need. I'm gonna go now and take Nikki the nigga. Okay. Strong, isn't it? Strong to hear it. But notice I'm not phased. As you grow tired, you know who you are, what people say. For those of you who are like, my family's never, we're not talking about you. We're not talking about you. I can just tell you this, that someone who thinks this way will stumble upon my video. May even just be one person throughout this video's lifetime. And if I don't block the comments, will say some of the craziest shit to me. Because it happens already. I get that. Especially on PS3, playing a game like, hey, let's be friends. No, you packy nigga. Oh, shit, I'm hating from Pakistan. Like, I'm like, oh my god, he just insulted the Pakistani people by calling me a packy nigga. Because the people from Pakistan, like, fuck that, she ain't ours. Niggas is niggas. I'm Pakistani. I got my own shit going on. I'm going to make sure I put something in the header because it's not something that some people want to blast. In my household, we play this video and I make sure that my son got a glimpse of the real world, the one that my parents had to teach me about at the same young age. so I wouldn't be disillusioned or gotta go and finish the stuff I gotta do.